They say there's a kind of silence that's louder than thunder. That was the sound hanging over the shooting range that afternoon. Just after a woman no one believed in pulled the trigger. No one moved. The air was still. A clean, sharp ping echoed from the steel gong 6 football fields away. For a full second, you could have heard a leaf hit the ground. It wasn't just a good shot. It was a lesson, one those fellows wouldn't forget for a long, long time. But to understand why that moment hit so hard, you have to hear the whole story. So let me take you back to that morning, and to a woman named Rebecca Porter. Rebecca lived in a small farmhouse at the edge of the valley, just past where the pavement turns to gravel. She was the kind of woman who didn't say much unless it needed saying. 40 years old, give or take, with chestnut brown hair always tied back in a practical ponytail. Her face was honest, not plain, not glamorous, just real. The kind of beauty you notice more the longer you look. That morning, the sun was sliding through the kitchen curtains, warming the oak table where she sat with a chipped mug of black coffee. The walls were lined with old family photos, generations of Porters in hunting gear, rifles in hand, game on the ground. Her father, her grandfather, her brothers, and just as many photos of Rebecca, holding her own. That day, she made up her mind. She was going to shoot at the regional range, not for fame, not for pride, just because it was time. The range sat on a wide swath of manicured land, tucked between rolling hills. As Rebecca pulled in, her beat-up green pickup looked out of place among the shiny trucks and polished SUVs. She parked near the edge and stepped out with her rifle case, an old leather one passed down from her grandfather. Men in branded jackets with sponsor patches milled around, nodding to each other. Rebecca walked into the clubhouse. Wood-paneled walls, trophy mounts, and photographs of past champions, almost all men. At the front desk, a young man glanced up. "Membership card?" he asked without much interest. "Day pass," she replied. He eyed her jeans and plain shirt like they didn't belong. "That'll be $75. She paid without blinking. "Long-range targets?" he added skeptically. "You sure?" Rebecca nodded, polite but steady. "I know my way around a rifle." Out on the range, she walked with measured steps, her boots crunching on the gravel. She found an open bench near the far end and began laying out her gear. No flash, no extras. Just the old bolt-action rifle, her spotting scope, and a small notebook with handwritten data. A few benches down, a group of men took notice. They weren't quiet about it either. "What wandered in?" one whispered, just loud enough. Another laughed. "She bring Grandpa's deer gun to a precision match?" Rebecca didn't flinch. She adjusted her scope and checked wind direction. Another man, taller, with slick sunglasses and a logo-covered jacket, approached her spot. "You sure you're in the right place, honey?" he said, grinning. She met his gaze. "I'm sure." His name, as it turned out, was Travis, and he wasn't done talking. Travis made a show of examining her rifle. "That thing even accurate past 200? he asked, smirking. "My grandfather's," she replied evenly. "Still shoots straight." He called over his buddies. "Check this out. 600 yards with Grandpa's bolt gun." They laughed. Rebecca stayed quiet, making her adjustments. She'd learned long ago. Let them talk. One of the younger men chimed in. "Bet she's here for Instagram pictures." Rebecca didn't blink. She was steady, focused, but Travis couldn't help himself. "Tell you what," he said. "Hit the gong at 600 yards, first try, and I'll pay your range membership myself." She paused. "And if I do?" she asked. Travis chuckled. "You name it." Rebecca looked him dead in the eye. "You and your friends take an hour lesson from me." The laughter stopped for half a second, then came roaring back. "Deal," Travis said, shaking his head. "One shot? Sure." Rebecca stepped up to her mat. She checked her data one last time. Wind, slight from the right. Temperature, 72. She settled in, resting the stock against her shoulder like it was part of her. Years of hunting, of discipline, of quiet mornings on the family land came into play. The men stood behind her now, arms crossed, waiting for failure. One even pulled out his phone, aiming to catch it all on video. "Let's give her some pointers," someone whispered. Rebecca closed her eyes for a moment, blocking them out. This wasn't about them. It was about the shot. Her breath slowed, finger on the trigger. The steel gong downrange was just a circle in the distance, but in her mind, it was the only thing in the world. The rifle cracked, sharp and clean. Recoil settled into her shoulder. For a moment, silence. Then, ping, clear, undeniable. The sound of a bullet striking steel. The 8-inch gong swayed gently. Nobody said a word. Travis stood frozen, mouth slightly open. His friends looked at one another, stunned. Rebecca didn't celebrate. She calmly opened her notebook and recorded the wind, drop, and position, just like she'd done 100 times before. Could have been luck, someone mumbled. Rebecca chambered another round. Could have been, she said. Then she fired again. Another hit, and another. 5 shots, 5 direct hits. Less than 3 minutes. Now the mockery was gone. In its place, respect. The men didn't know what to say. Travis tried to find his footing. Where'd you learn to shoot like that? He asked, quieter now. My family, she replied. Been shooting longer than most folks been bragging about it. One of the men, Robert, the silver-haired one, extended a hand. Name's Robert Coleman. That was damn fine shooting. Rebecca shook his hand with a nod. You made believers out of us, Mike, the bearded one, added. Travis stood there, arms folded, no longer smiling. I guess we've got that lesson to take. Rebecca raised an eyebrow. Unless you're not men of your word. That stung just enough to get them moving. Over the next hour, Rebecca showed them everything. Not with ego, but with quiet authority. How she controlled her breathing, how she judged the wind, how she kept her cheek well consistent, how to build a stable position. Mike struggled to stay steady. You make it look easy, he said. Not easy, she replied. Just fundamental. Master the basics before you chase bells and whistles. Even Travis paid attention now, his curiosity finally outweighing his pride. When they wrapped up, Robert approached again. We've got a precision team. Compete regionally. Based on what I saw today, you'd be an asset. Rebecca smirked. The same team that wasn't sure I belonged here 2 hours ago? Robert looked sheepish. Perspectives change. Mine sure has. Rebecca packed up her gear, methodically, just like she did everything else. She said her goodbyes, nodded once at Travis, and walked back to her truck as the sun dipped low behind the hills. The sky burned gold and red as she turned onto the gravel road toward home. She didn't need applause, didn't need headlines. All she needed was the reminder of who she was, and she'd gotten that clean through. Her grandfather once told her, the trigger don't care who pulls it, it only responds to the one who's ready. That day she'd been ready, and in a place where no one expected her to be, she proved herself, not by shouting, not by demanding attention, but by letting her shot speak for her. And boy, did it speak loud. So if you've ever been underestimated, if someone ever looked at you and decided your story before they even knew your name, remember Rebecca Porter. Remember the strength in quiet, the power in preparation, and the lesson in humility. Sometimes one well-placed shot says more than 1,000 arguments ever could. And sometimes when the world is watching and hoping you'll fail, all it takes is a steady breath, a firm grip, and the unshakable knowledge of exactly who you are.